Good afternoon.
Ashleigh?
Thank you so much. My name is Ashleigh Deemer, and I'm the Western Pennsylvania Director for Penn Environment. I just want to take a moment to thank the House and Senate Democratic Policy Committees for holding this hearing today. I'd especially like to thank Representative Austin Davis for having us here, as well as Senator Boscola and Representative Sterla for chairing this meeting, as well as the Honorable Jay Costa for his leadership. And I was taking notes and trying to write down everybody who was here, but in the interest of not missing anyone, I'll just thank you all for being here. And I think it's really important that we have so many state leaders here today. As I'm sure you know, Penn Environment is a statewide nonprofit environmental advocacy group. We work to protect the places we love and the environmental values that we all share. And we win results. Is this cutting in and out? Okay, great. We win results for our environment on behalf of more than 150,000 Penn Environment contributing members, volunteers, and online activists. Here in Pittsburgh, Penn Environment works along an incredible coalition of organizations and individuals to improve air quality in the region and protect the health of the county's residents. As we all continue this work, people in Allegheny County are more aware than ever of the health impacts of air pollution. Without question, these residents want cleaner air. In the last 6 months, thousands of Allegheny County residents have signed petitions calling for stronger polluter enforcement. People are rallying, and each week our news outlets are flooded with stories of pollution, of health impacts, national rankings, and letters from residents seeking change. The December 24th fire at the Clairton Coke Works and the resulting impacts on the community have only amplified some of these concerns. Since the fire, there have been multiple exceedances of federal air quality standards, noticeable and objective increases in pollution, and the plant continues to operate in violation of its Clean Air Act permits. There is no doubt that the impacts of this fire are serious and ongoing, but this incident is also shining a light on the pollution and health impacts that were evident at this facility and in this community for years before this fire occurred. For example, Penn Environment's 2018 Toxic 10 report analyzed U.S. Environmental Protection Agency toxic release inventory data, which is reported by the companies themselves. This report found that the Clairton Coke Works is one of the most toxic industrial facilities in Allegheny County. Their normal operations before the fire exposed the 37,000 people who would live within 3 miles of this plant to a cocktail of dangerous compounds, including benzene, styrene, lead, mercury, cyanide compounds, and more. More broadly, Penn Environment's 2018 report entitled Trouble in the Air found that the Pittsburgh metropolitan area had elevated particulate pollution and/or smog that made it unhealthy to breathe 1 out of every 3 days in Allegheny County in 2016. It's fair to say that the Clairton Coke Works, which releases over 1 million pounds of particulates per year, is a major contributor to that problem. It bears repeating Dr. Gentile's important work with elementary school students in the region. This research has revealed that Allegheny County has a baseline asthma epidemic, with 22% of kids suffering from the disease. The statewide average in Pennsylvania is 10%, and the national average is 8%. After the fire, 36% of kids with asthma in Clairton have significantly reduced lung function, while kids in other communities who are not in the shadow of the Clairton Coke Works remain stable. Those are the numbers, but it's important too to connect with the people and the effects of asthma on their health, their education, and their families. Local resident Colette Williams was quoted in the Post-Gazette about her son saying he couldn't breathe, he was tired, he wasn't able to come out of the house because of the air quality. We should not expect families to sustain this kind of burden and trauma, and we cannot expect kids to learn, grow, and flourish in this community when they are confined to their homes, unable to breathe. Given all of this, it's unacceptable that U.S. Steel continues to run the facility without the required pollution controls and in total violation of their Clean Air Act permits. That shouldn't be an option that's on the table, but Penn Environment takes a solutions view of every problem we encounter, and we recommend the following. U.S. Steel must put the Clairton Coke Works in hot idle until the required pollution controls are restored. and that's what we want them to be restored. You will hear U.S. Steel say their hands are tied, but this is entirely untrue. Their profits conservatively totaled $1.85 billion in 2018. They can certainly afford to put the necessary and required pollution controls in place before resuming production. And secondly, this is something that Senator Fontana was saying earlier, U.S. Steel should be transparent and communicate the findings of their investigation about how this fire happened, as well as preventative measures the company will take to protect the community and prevent similar incidents in the future. Thirdly, the Allegheny County Health Department should continue their stringent enforcement of the plant beyond the impacts of the fire. In 2018, the Health Department took unprecedented action to hold U.S. Steel accountable for their chronic illegal pollution. This should continue throughout and beyond the mitigation of this fire. The Health Department should also apply rigorous requirements to the mitigation plan to ensure that the work to restore the required pollution controls happens as quickly as possible and as thoroughly as possible, and to prevent exceedances of pollution limits and health impacts in the interim. And finally, we can help the Health Department fund these important efforts at the Health Department by raising the Title V permit fees. Pure and simple, the Health Department needs the resources to be successful. All the evidence presented here today tells us that the implementation of these solutions would dramatically reduce the pollution burden on local residents in our region, ensuring us all a cleaner and truly livable future. Again, I'd like to thank Representative Austin Davis for inviting us to speak here today and holding this important hearing for his constituents, and the members of the House and Senate Democratic Policy Committees for affording me the opportunity. Penn Environment looks forward to working with members of the General Assembly, Allegheny County, the Allegheny County Health Department, and other decision makers to make sure the public has access to all the facts and necessary information, and that U.S. Steel takes the steps needed to remedy this public health threat as quickly as possible. You all have a copy of my testimony, and I thank you very much.
Thank you.